Ian,
Patrick.
we have a Patreon topic. Ian.
We do.
How do you access the Patreon?
I was going to ask you the very same thing. You go to patreon.com/CU podcast.
You get a hangout once a month with Ian. Maybe
Get a hangout once
week or
a
two.
month.
You get a writing.
Get a writing.
Hopefully once a week.
You get just talked about the them clubhouse games.
And you get to vote on the Patreon poll every week. In third place, what was your favorite thing about the start of summer, and were you a beach kid? 19%. Surprisingly low. Maybe we'll get back to that in the future. Second place, what were your favorite book series growing up or recently? Our patrons can't read. 24%. They don't are interested in that. And number one.
Why are you are weirdly against the book one?
I don't want the book topic to come out. Now they're going to vote for it. Because I don't have a lot to say about recently about what I've read or anything.
Growing up.
That's true.
Growing up.
I talk about the Hardy Boys.
Question.
And number one, what games have you put the most hours into at 56%? Ian, that's with a bullet.
So I've been thinking about that, and there's a lot that I've put a lot of time into. Some are obvious to me. Some I have to like think and go, okay, over my lifetime, I've probably put a lot into these. So just games like the nice thing about modern games is they generally keep track of how long you've been playing.
Oh, like
them.
Steam?
Yeah, like Steam or the Switch does it. Some games do it on the PS4. But at least as far as like recent stuff in recent memory goes, No Man's Sky is a game I've put hundreds of hours into.
Hundreds?
Yeah, probably 200 to 300.
Over the past few, what came out 4 years ago?
Yeah, probably about 4 years. Yeah, 2016. I realize that's not as crazy as like some people, but for me to put 300 hours into a game is a lot. Mario Kart 8 is also a game that I have put a lot of time into. If you were to add up the amount of hours I put into the Wii U version and the Switch version, I've probably put about 150, 200 hours into Mario Kart 8.
I'd probably put at least 100 hours into both combined.
I would say probably 200. That's a game that I keep going back to. And that's like where I start to realize, okay, I'm really like putting some time into these games is like, I just keep going back to them over time. I pick Mario Kart back up for like another 10 to 15 hours, like every 3 months. And it just keeps adding.
It's a brilliant game. I mean, how can they perfect that game? And I guess I could, but like, holy shit.
I was talking about it the other day. Mario Kart is a game that I don't know that I actually like because the entire time that I'm playing it, I fucking bitch about how unfair it is. But I always go back.
What's unfair about it? With the items? You mean?
Just like the rubber banding AI and stuff like that. But I like it. I always joke and say that it's a very fancy dice rolling simulator. I mean, there's obviously skill involved, but there's a lot of luck involved in Mario Kart too.
If you know how to drive properly, you're gonna do well though.
Yeah, but you're still gonna get.
You have to use items properly.
If you're skillful, yes, and you use items properly, you're always going to finish in the top 4 or the top 5. You're not always going to get first place.
Not against humans, no. It's this because people are too close to skill, and there is a little bit of randomness. Absolutely, you're right about that. It's not just dice throwing. It's not yacht.
No,
yacht
that's
dice.
why it's joking. I'm joking. But I think when I think about games that I've really put the most time in, Fire Pro Wrestling.
The newer one, or just one single game? We're talking about series.
Series as a whole, but I could easily say Fire Pro D and Fire Pro R. And Fire Pro G, honestly, all 3 of those games probably have a couple hundred hours at least in each one.
I didn't play as much as the PlayStation one. Was it G?
G was
on the emulator. One. I didn't play as much as that as I played 6-Man Scramble on the Saturday, which I obviously played a lot of that with my Disco Inferno Creator Wrestler.
So I don't talk a lot about like when I was really into wrestling, but my friend Jay, my friend Galen, and my friend Dan and I would get together once a week, every week, for years, for probably 3 years in there when I was still living in Buffalo before I moved out here. And it was when tape trading was still a big deal.
Sure.
So, and I didn't really buy tapes, but Dan and Jay definitely bought tapes. And Galen would buy some too. Jay was very into Torimon and Dragon Gate. As a matter of fact, my friend Jay is now he's the guy who runs all the English language Dragon Gate stuff, like officially. He actually works for them now. But we would get together every week. We would, they would all, get their new tapes. They'd all pick some matches. We'd all watch probably like 2 hours of wrestling, and then we'd sit around and we'd play every week. We'd play whatever version of Fire Pro is current for like 2, if not more hours.
What was your favorite version? Did you like D better than G?
D is my favorite sentimentally, but well, because it was Dreamcast as well. I'm a big fan of G as well, though, because that was what I really like sunk most of my time into.
G really expanded the moves.
Yes,
a lot more. I remember. I'll never forget this as long as I live, because I loved Benoit back then. He was one of my favorite wrestlers. The Crippler Crossface had a bug in that game. You could not submit. You remember that?
Yep.
For some reason, I remember that. But G was when they started putting new moves on your card to put it on your PlayStation too. I believe that's when they did that.
I don't believe so.
Really? I thought they did that on G.
I don't believe they did that with G. They did that with D.
Was it D, not G?
D, they released new moves. What they did in D was they held a vote. And they released, I think it was like 16 or 20 new moves for the game. And there was a service. And basically, you would download it onto your VMU. And we would get all the new moves.
I'm trying to go back to old fucking forums from like 2001 too to see if there was move packs back then.
No, there weren't any move packs for G. I can promise you there were not move packs for G.
Now I'm confusing it with that.
There were moves added to D. That was the first time they added any sort of moves. But yeah, so I mean, I have just alone, I have probably 400 hours into
one of the Fire Pros
into D, G, and R. So yeah, I think honestly that's probably the game I've spent the most time playing. And there was a point in time where I played DuckTales every day when I got home from school.
And would never though equal Fire Pro.
It would never equal Fire Pro, no. But that was one that I played a lot. I would get home and I'd play DuckTales every single day. When I was in high school, I'd get home and I'd play DuckTales once or twice through almost every single day. So there's lots of time.
This is how I broke this down.
Lots of time in that too.
Games that took a lot of time at first. Games that you repeatedly play a lot.
Sure. Or
short games like NES where, as a kid, I had Jaws. I'd probably play Jaws for 20 hours.
Right.
Like what human would do that? Because each game would take half hour, 40 minutes, whatever. But you play them a lot. I don't think as much as I played Contra or as much as I played Super Mario Brothers, there's no way the amount of time would even get close to some of these computer games I played.
Yeah.
There's just
absolutely
no feasible way, because these are not games that take hours and hours to complete. I mean, some NES games do, like Legend of Zelda. It'll take you a few hours.
By the time I got good at DuckTales, I mean, an average run was no more than 15 minutes. That's very. That's how long a Fire Pro match takes.
If Rampage, on the Master System, I think he's beeping. If Rampage on the Master System would take you 2 hours, I ain't gonna play that more than once. Yeah, I remember playing that in the Master System. So that's the only game I have besides the built-in Alex Kidd Miracle World on the Master System too. Which, God, the more I think about Alex Kidd, I don't like it. Reviewed that game too. I would not go back to those games.
Sure.
Like Top Secret Episode, I owned, but I could only get an hour in before I got stuck, and that was it.
Sure.
Then I'd be discouraged from playing it again. But once you get to the computer and you get the games like playing X-Wing and TIE Fighter, just doing those campaigns takes several hours to get through that. And some of those escort missions are very difficult. So those games could take you 20 hours to play through.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to get into these games that are a lot longer. Like playing a game like Space Quest, or those don't take that long to get through, but these games that have campaigns, yes. And then when you start to get into games like obviously Unreal, and then get to college, you're playing multiplayer. Now we're talking a lot of time. So to me, I thought about it. I said, how much did I play Civilization 2? I played that game for 8 hours a day one summer, which you're talking, let's just say that summer, whatever that was, 96 that summer, somewhere around there. We're talking, because you're not playing Doom 8 hours a day. You're not doing that. So we'll just play, not 8 hours, we'll play 6 hours a day. 6 times 30, 180 times 3. That's 500 hours. I probably played 500 hours of let's just say 400 hours, something like that. I probably played 300 to 400 hours of Civ 2. I'm not sure that's the most I played. I might have played Unreal Tournament 2004 more than that. In the 2000s, mid 2000s, I was in a clan. I was in tournaments with like assault mode, and those sessions would go easily. Each session could go 4 hours, and we're talking playing that game for years, like 3 years. That game was popular probably with the add-ons and the TAM add-on. So I would probably say between like Civilization 2 is up there, for sure, and then maybe there's an NES game I'd probably get into the 100-hour from repetitiveness, but it'd be hard to think of one that I played that much to get to 100 hours. And then Unreal Tournament 2004, probably more than Unreal Tournament 99, more than the original Unreal. I probably played the most of any game the more I think about it. That game became like playing that game almost every day for a while.
Right.
At least a couple hours each time. Like that probably within 1 year surpassed any summer of me killing my life in my reading list to Civ 2, which probably wasn't 6 hours a day. It was probably 4 hours a day.
Sure.
So anyway, that was I think about that a lot, because I said, yeah, NES games you go back to a lot, or even Super Nintendo games. There's no way I'm playing these NES games for 400 hours. They're impossible. Not even if it's fucking Nobunaga's Ambition, that's not going to happen. You're not going to do that. So that was a good Q&A.
It was
Better than reading.
No, I could go off on reading.
No, I like to read. I got to read more. Ludlum with the ba 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 titles.
Yes.
Ba 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 ba.